Why do you support Trump?
Probably for a variety of issues, but I mean, probably mostly because of his immigration policy compared to Kamala. I think, under Biden, I didn't really agree with kind of how he approached the border, and really he had an open border policy. Whereas Trump was really strict with the border, and he's done a good job of not allowing illegals into our country.
Okay. Undocumented immigrants. I don't think that undocumented immigrants are harmful to our country. I think that if they have committed a violent crime or bad crime, I think that they should be given a pathway to citizenship where they do not have to leave the country. And I think that would ensure the most amount of people are vetted.
So I had a question for you. So like I saw some YouTube videos about Trump, like they were hosting like illegal immigrants in hotel rooms in like New York City, like busing them there. Um, and I saw some YouTubers go in and they would interview these people and said the government's paying for them completely to be in these hotel rooms. Like, what do you think
You're
about
talking about
all of
legal
that?
asylum seekers.
Yeah,
Yeah, legal
but
asylum
they're
seekers
illegal
are
immigrants.
legal immigrants.
Well, they're
So
seeking
you have an issue with
asylum. They
legal
haven't been
immigration?
granted it yet.
Wait, so is your issue with legal immigration or is it with illegal immigration?
Illegal immigration.
Okay, so then why are you complaining about legal immigrants getting access to benefits that they need?
Well, I mean, anyone can say they're going to be a legal immigrant, right? If they're seeking asylum. So any illegal coming into the country could just be like, I'm seeking asylum. That still makes them
So
an illegal
so then
immigrant.
let's make the or no, again, no, they're still going through a legal channel. If they were determined specifically that they are not authorized, well then they wouldn't be allowed. They, in order to be able to stay in the country, had to go through a credible fear interview.
I don't know if that's true.
It is
Like, if
true.
they actually, well, like, my understanding was they came across the border immediately, and then because they can't send them back immediately, they have to put them in like hotels and like encampments
No, no,
close to the
no.
border.
So no, no, no. So the hotels that you're referencing was in New York in severe weather incidents. That
Okay.
was it.
So do you think
Incidents.
that's a good policy? Like, is that a good use of taxpayer dollars to have
That's
illegal
state
immigrants into hotels?
that they get to determine that, and they're not illegally in the country. They are going through a legal process of immigration.
I don't agree with that, but that's just a review, I guess.
So you
Because
don't
I
agree with
just
the
think
what?
anyone can claim that. You can claim asylum. That doesn't make you a,
Well, then make the legal process for asylum go quicker.
or just deport illegal immigrants.
Well, again, that has nothing to do with this people going through the asylum process. If they've claimed asylum, then how are you going to restrict them from being in the country? If through the process of deportation, are you going to say you're going to deport people whose asylum claims have not been verified yet? That's ridiculous.
I mean, I don't think I'd. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to. Like, it's just like you're going with someone what they're saying. Like, if you're actually from Mexico or you're born and raised in Mexico and you came across the border and you just say, yeah, I'm seeking asylum for my conditions in Mexico, does that give you a right to be here?
So if you're seeking asylum, you have the right for us to verify your claim. So we have a process specifically that they have to go through, right? Yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay.
Where would you like
Well,
people to stay in those situations? If they have a legitimate, invalid asylum claim, where should they stay?
I don't think they have a valid claim,
No,
right?
for
Like,
those
I
that
don't think
do,
they should stay anywhere. They
because the
should they
policies
should
that
be
you're
out of the
advocating
country.
for, because the policies you're advocating for are going to affect those with valid asylum claims, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
So if it's going to affect people with valid asylum claims, well, then you want people who have valid asylum claims to be able to be in our country, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so if you want people who have valid asylum claims to be able to be in our country, well, then how do you do that without specifically allowing them to stay in our country?
I think it just goes back to who can get asylum and who can't.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I think if
if
you're
the
like,
process has not undergone specifically to identify that, well, then how are you going to say that they shouldn't be allowed to stay in the country?
how can you be allowed to say they should be allowed if no process has been done? Like, I
Well,
think they should be deported, or they should be somewhere in like a detention center, a pending trial. They shouldn't be allowed free into our country.
so what type of detention center are you referencing?
I know just like near the border, they like had certain like people waiting trials or whatever. Was my understanding. It was like they have like places where they would keep them. Um, I think that's a good policy to take. You find people that are illegals, you get them closer to the border, and you give them due process. If they have a legitimate claim, then you let them into our country. But right now, it's kind of go into the country for free, and then you're saying you automatically have asylum, like you're like some independent authority. But that's not how it should be.
Okay. So here's my process. Okay. For those that have not committed violent crimes or bad crimes, they should be given a pathway to citizenship. Okay. If they have not committed a violent crime or bad crime and they're already in the country undocumented, asylum seekers that are
Okay.
coming to our country, yeah, if they have not committed a violent crime or bad crime, should they be getting benefits? Absolutely. Right? Why? Because I think that they should be considered a citizen. I think that they should be able to have a pathway to citizenship. Right? I think they should be able to legally stay in this country. I don't think that their presence here is bad.
But you could see
Why
why
is it
people
bad?
would say you could see why people would say no to that, right? Like they shouldn't be allowed in this country,
No. Why,
right?
why, why do you say so? Can you fix your
Because so
feedback?
if
It's
they're
kind
if
of
they're
bad.
not even if they're not like so one thing, could you agree that anyone who's done a violent crime that isn't illegal should they be deported?
Yeah, I already told you people have committed violent crimes. You have feedback, man. I hear myself.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah, yeah. So people have committed violent crimes and bad crimes. Yes, they should be deported on the condition that they're going to be put in a prison in another country. Of course.
Okay. Now, and for legal people, um, just because they're here, I don't think that gives them the right to be here. Even if they're illegal and they haven't done anything, it's illegal to be here.
Even if they're illegally here.
Well, no, if they're legally here, that's one. If they have a U.S. citizenship, that's fine. But if they're illegally here, if they're like a good person, maybe they shouldn't be the first people to go. But I think eventually, you have to deal with those cases,
If they
and
haven't
then
committed a
maybe
violent crime or
when
bad, okay, answer this question. If someone's come to our country and they haven't committed a violent crime or bad crime, what is the issue with them being in our country?
the
Like, how
issue
is
is
that a
they're
threat
taking
to
away
you?
from
How is it
services
harming
that
you?
should go to American citizens,
You think it should go to American citizens? What should go to American citizens?
like SNAP benefits, food stamps,
We're gonna have a
healthcare, other
greater ability
programs.
we're gonna have a greater ability to provide these programs if we have more tax revenue and a larger GDP.
How are we getting tax revenue from people who really aren't
Provide a
providing any
pathway to
value to our?
citizenship. If they're legally in the country, they are providing value and they are absolutely providing tax revenue. What are
I
you
don't know.
talking
No,
about?
that's an opinion if they're providing value or not. They could be
What do you mean
like
that's an
their conditions in
opinion?
Mexico may be
I'm
so
sorry. I'm
bad that
sorry. Are
just
you
being
okay?
here.
Are you okay? What do you mean that's an opinion? No, I have data to indicate this to be true. I can send you a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research that indicates upward pressure on wages specifically from immigration that we've seen. What are you talking about? Unmute your mic, man.
Sorry. Um, no, it, like I don't believe that illegal immigrants are more like employed than American citizens or doing more to benefit our country, especially since they can't really get a job without a citizenship, right? Most of their job is going to come from
You
under the
could
table work.
well, so that is a job, but like in that context, again, I'm saying that they should be given a pathway to citizenship, meaning that they're going to be providing more tax revenues. It costs more money to
Right.
deport them, to
Now,
detain
and
them.
I'm saying they shouldn't just automatically be given a pathway for citizenship. I think if they
Why
have a
not?
valid claim, they can.
If they
Because
haven't
I
committed a
don't think
violent
that's
crime or
a
wait,
given right
if
if you come
answer the
into this country legally.
okay, no, if someone specifically has not committed a violent crime or bad crime, how are they harming the country?
Say that again.
If someone has not committed a violent crime or bad crime, how are they harming the country by coming here?
I just answered that because they're taking away from services that it should go
They're
to
not though.
Americans.
If they specifically come to our country and they are legally engaging in the country, right, under my process and my system, they grow the tax base, right? How much tax revenue we have in order to be able to
No,
pay for these systems.
when they go to hospitals and when they get injuries, are they
Yeah,
paying for that
everyone gets an
themselves?
injury. Do you think you're a net loss on our system?
I don't know.
You
I
don't know? Jesus Christ,
But
dude.
like, no.
Would you? Okay, so if you don't know, then would you limit yourself from coming into our country if you could? You probably would.
All I'm saying is there's no way they provide a positive impact to our GDP by being in the country when they're using our services and they really aren't
Like everyone else.
building anything for us.
What do you mean not building anything? Like legal immigrants and undocumented immigrants have a higher labor force participation rate than natural-born U.S. citizens. What do you mean?
How much higher?
I'd have to check specifically again. It's by multiple percentage points.
None of that is legal work, right? It's like it's not documented like a normal job would be under a W-2, right? But this work is just under the table. You're getting like $20 at the end of the or $100 at the end of the day, kind of work.
What are you not understanding? If someone is given a
What?
legal pathway to citizenship, they will have legally recognized work, meaning they're going to be paying
Yeah.
taxes into our system. So this idea of they're going to be getting services. Well, for every person that exists, technically they're going to be providing more into the system than they're going to be taking from it. That's how our economy functions. Right? So why are they any different? Like all the evidence that I've seen, again, I just told you a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research that indicates it has an increase on wages, increase in GDP, and even an increase in employment rate for people that have already been in the country.
I mean, I'm not familiar with the study. I'll look it up, but just like from a rational perspective, it just doesn't seem to me like they would provide benefit over an average American citizen. It just doesn't. It doesn't seem like they
Benefit
have the
for it,
opportunities
because let me
to
tell you why.
provide that benefit.
Because our country is becoming progressively older, because a greater proportion of our population is older on things like Social Security and Medicare for a longer period of time because of increasing life expectancy. So if we want to be able to pay for these things, right, then we have to have more younger people who are working in the system, because we've had a lower fertility rate than replacement rate. So it is the case that we're going to have a reducing population, according to the Congressional Budget Office, by 2050. A lot of people have this idea that we're going to have overpopulation. Actually, we're going to have underpopulation because of the fact that we won't be able to produce enough children to be able to replace the existing population, right? So inevitably,
And so do you
it's
think
going to lead to a
illegal immigrants are going
circumstance
to
where
fill that hole?
I think legal immigrants are going to do so. I don't know why you keep saying undocumented when I'm saying that they should be provided a legal pathway. You have a response to that?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't agree. Like, I think I get you're stressing like, okay, they have a legal pathway, but I think beyond that, we just don't agree on the basic point that if you come into this country, you shouldn't automatically have a legal pathway. You should be caught by the police and gone back to the country you came from.
Okay, again, you keep saying that. Why? Or do you think every law should be enforced?
Yes, every law
Yes,
should be
okay.
enforced.
So that you're currently on an app that's illegal. Okay?
How is it
This app is
illegal?
illegal. It's currently banned by the government. It's just not being enforced by the Trump administration.
I don't know. I don't know if it's banned or not.
It is. It is literally banned.
By who? The government has banned
Yes,
this app?
Congress passed a bill that banned TikTok.
Okay. So what's your point?
So this app is illegal. You're using it, and the Trump administration is just not enforcing it to be illegal. Okay? That's an example of one. Secondly, do you think in all instances jaywalking should be illegal? Even if it's not a threat to someone's safety or security?
I mean, if it's not a threat, then you should be able to do it, right?
Oh, okay. So if it's not a threat to the safety and security, then you should be able to do it. So undocumented
Yeah.
immigrants come into our country that have not committed a violent crime or bad crime are not a threat to our safety and security, right?
No, I think they are a threat to
How?
to their impact on our systems
In what way?
and the uses on public transport, on food, on feeding themselves. They're an impact that, at the end of the day, stuff like that increases inflation. So I think if you have less people, you're going to have less inflation.
I'm sorry. That was just really stupid. Okay. There's no evidence indicating that immigration increases inflation. Do you think legal immigration increases inflation?
I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you have more people,
No. Answer the question.
well,
Do you
okay,
think
maybe
legal
not,
immigration?
because
Do you answer the question? Do you think legal immigration causes inflation?
no.
Okay. Then if you give a pathway to citizenship to anyone who's in the country undocumented, then wouldn't that get rid of the idea that it's going to lead to inflation? I don't even know how that would lead to inflation specifically for undocumented immigrants being brought to our country. If anything, it would decrease costs of things. I don't know how it would lead to inflation. That's obviously an absurd standpoint right there. But like, let's throw that away real quick. Legal immigrants, you don't think they cause inflation? So if you give them a legal pathway to citizenship, it seems like the issue goes away. So under my system, that issue is not present.
I mean, like, it goes back to our first point of just you shouldn't be allowed to be here if just because you are here, just because you came. Like, I don't understand how you could justify having people that say, okay, I just want to be American now. Does that give you asylum? Apparently, it gives you the ability to be in our country, and I don't think that should be the case.
I think if people want to go and immigrate to our country, they should have a quick legal process of doing so. Our current process takes
Right.
way too long.
I agree with that, and I also think that like the people immigrating to our country should provide value. And you quoted one study, you know, maybe you're accurate, but I think maybe
Do you have any
people
study
abroad could provide
indicating?
more value
Do
than
you have
that.
any study indicating immigrants are not valuable?
I don't have any study, but I've seen.
So
I don't
you
know,
just
just
have
watch YouTube videos.
you just watch YouTube. Yeah. Well,
Yeah. I mean, I just don't see how someone from Mexico who can barely speak English would be able to really.
I don't know why
at the
you're
end of the
assuming
day,
only
like,
people coming
they
to our
could do
country
manual
are from
labor
Mexico and can't
labor
speak
task
English.
jobs.
Wait, why are you assuming only people coming to our country are specifically from Mexico and can't speak English? You're just a disgusting bigot. That's what you are, right? You have an issue with people who are
no, I'm
Mexican
saying
in your
they're
country.
mostly coming from the Mexico border, right?
That doesn't necessarily mean they're Mexican, right? But I just want to
I'm not
address the
saying
fact
they're
that
they're necessarily
wait.
Mexican.
I just want to address the fact that like, do you have an issue with that? Say they're Mexican
No,
and they
I
don't
don't
know
have
English.
any
What's the issue
issue.
with that? What's the issue with that? Are you saying they're not valuable or they're not productive because of that?
No, I don't think
Oh,
they're
so then what's
productive
your
because of
argument,
that,
buddy?
but I think maybe because of their means growing up, you know, in their country. I honestly don't think, compared to an American citizen, I think an American citizen, at the end of the day, when they're 30 or 40 years old, can provide more value than someone, you know, coming across the border illegally. And I'm sure there's
Okay,
cases where those
in
people are
what
going to rise up,
so
but
what connotation are you referencing? Can you give me a specific?
I'm just talking in generalities,
Give me a
honestly.
specific. Yeah, so give me a specific in general. In general, like that would be applicable to the generality.
Like a 20-year-old in a typical suburban American community versus a 20-year-old, let's say he's Mexican in Mexico,
So what makes you think this?
based off of the education systems in Mexico and the education systems
That you
in the
guys want to
US.
defund in the United States? And by the way, so you understand that like our education system here is dog, right? So you're
You
saying
think the
because
education in
people are
Mexico is
so
better?
you're saying because people are coming from a country in which they have less access to education, you want to restrict
Yeah.
them from coming to our country?
Um, I wouldn't want them coming here like freely. I would restrict them, but I would
you mean
allow
you'd have
certain.
but would you give them a quick legal pathway? Are you saying they shouldn't be allowed to come into our country just because they're coming from a country
No,
that has less
I think they should
education?
be allowed to come into the country, but I think they shouldn't be coming freely in. Like,
Okay, well, I don't know what you mean
there
by
should be
freely,
a
and no one's
border.
advocating for no border, right? We still want a border. We just want a quick legal pathway for people to get into our country. And just because
I
someone
don't
comes
know,
from a
'cause
country
sometimes in
specifically
the Biden
that has
administration, in the
just
past, it
because
kinda
someone
seemed
comes
like
from a
they had
country
an
that's
open border
just because
policy.
someone comes from a country that has less educational access, right, does not mean that they should be restricted from our country. And I just want to let you know, the United States education is absolute dog. I mean, it's absolutely atrocious, okay? The fact that we have so many millions of people that voted for Donald Trump with absolutely no basis in reason is absolutely instructive of that, okay? So we have no room here to say Americans are so educated, everyone else is not educated, and people, if they're not educated, should not be allowed to come here, right? That's ridiculous. Like, that's obviously absurd. right? We don't have great education here. So unless we actually make our education good, you can't say that stupid.
I mean, I still think that would you rather go to school in Mexico or the U.S.? I still think compared to Mexico, our systems are greatly better.
I'm not familiar with how much or what Mexico's system is ranked as.
I'm sure it's not higher.
Would you rather go to school in a area that really funds their school system or an area that doesn't fund their school system?
Probably one that really funds their school system.
Okay. So then you would prefer Democratic areas to Republican areas.
Um, if I'm going to school, a public school, probably.
So you wouldn't send your kid to an area that's controlled by Republicans. That's interesting. Interesting that it works that way, that you wouldn't send your children to an area controlled by Republicans. Interesting there. Ah, that's such an unfortunate take.
Are you saying that all Democratic area school districts or
Well, I'm saying
areas
that
in
you think
general
Democratic
run
areas
better
are
than
preferable for
Republican? I'm sure I can
you think
point to a
Democratic
number of
areas are
examples where
preferable
that's
for
not the
education.
case.
You think Democratic areas are preferable for education because they fund their education systems better. Because guess what?
Well,
Republicans
no,
don't want to fund
honestly,
your.
what I would do, I would probably be in a Republican area, but I would go to a private school or some independent school that's not funded by our government, or at least not outright funded by our government. I think the education system there is
something that
probably better
benefits
than.
from Democrats getting the funding passed through because Republicans don't want to fund education. They actually, Trump wanted to abolish the Department of Education, so make us even stupider than we already are.
Right, but wouldn't abolishing the Department of Education just place the onus on the states, and then in theory, we
Yeah,
would,
and
instead
red
of
states,
one,
and guess what? Red states are
yeah,
going to get destroyed. Okay, in California, we'll be fine. But if the people who live in Iowa, where I grew up, atrocious funding. You think the state of Iowa is going to be like giving a bunch of funding for that comparative to like proportionally in terms of what California gives? Red states
right.
don't
But
have
does
the
Iowa need
red
the
states
funding?
don't have the capacity to do so because they rely on the funding coming from states like California and New York that pay more into the system than they get from it.
Yeah, but think the education in New York and California needs to be better than somewhere like Iowa or Nebraska. Wouldn't you agree? Like jobs out there, it's mostly farming and labor
What?
intensive jobs. Yeah,
It's not mostly farming. What are you talking about? You think
I don't know.
Iowa
I'm just
most
talking just
jobs in Iowa are
Midwest,
farming?
general West
I mean, there's a
America.
lot of farmland, but there's less people like in those areas. So proportionally, there are more people in the cities. They still have normal jobs, like in Iowa. Like,
Right. But I think proportionally, there's going to be more. There's going to be more blue collar jobs than white collar jobs compared to California and New York City.
so you're gonna say people are paid more in California and New
Yeah,
York?
yeah. So if Iowa or Nebraska doesn't fund their education as much, and those kids are getting less education, I think it's right because
Red states, they have low GDP. They have low GDP. They have horrible education. They have
right.
and
Well,
let's
like, why
make it
should
even worse.
everyone?
You know what? Let's make this disparity even worse. Maybe more people will vote for Republicans because they'll be even more stupid.
I
Like
don't know. I
genuinely.
like people have different needs, right? Not everyone needs the same education, right?
No, I think this country needs more education. I think this country needs like the idea of excellence that we like literally were taught that we actually upheld, which we don't at all. We think we were literally taught we're so great, we're greater than you've ever seen before. I promise you that. And you know what? That's not the case in plenty of aspects. I mean, we're number one in like prison population per capita, right? But like, what do we rank in economic freedom or human freedom, or what do we rank in healthcare access or education access? We're absolutely atrocious. We're falling behind. So we should actually have that excellence. How do we have that excellence? What? By investing into our communities, our average people, instead of allowing for trillionaires like Elon Musk to have all the money, right? You understand that, right? Like we care more about specifically people getting access to their basic needs than Elon Musk being able to get his $1 trillion, right? increase
Yeah,
Elon
but do you know
Musk's
what
taxes,
Elon needs
right?
to get that $1 trillion? He needs to the incentives that he needs to actually create for him to get that pay package is putting like 300,000 Optimus robots, putting like a million self-driving cars. So
You mean
he is going to
claims? You mean
provide
claims?
value.
He never upholds his claims. Didn't they say about like 2025 they were going to be on Mars or some?
Yeah, but no, I'm saying you're saying like we just gave him $1 trillion, right?
Yeah, they're
I'm
gonna
saying,
be
like,
on Mars here very
his
soon. Mars is coming. Mars 2025 coming soon. We're here in 2025. Are we there yet? Are we there
Elon's
yet?
providing a net benefit to the world through what he's doing.
Elon Musk
sure.
is providing a net benefit. So you like immigrants coming to our country?
Yeah, legally. He came here legally. He's fine.
Oh, so you like legal immigration now? So we should increase legal immigration. More Elon Musks. More Elon Musk.
Yeah, I would definitely love more Elon Musks. I wouldn't
Okay,
love
okay. So let's increase immigration, right?
I don't know if we need to increase it. We just need
Oh,
to be
so
selective
less less Elon Musks.
No, selective Elon Musks.
What do you mean selective Elon Musks? What do you mean?
I did like a vetting process for immigration. Like bring people who actually
vetting.
have
Oh my
solid
God,
talents
isn't that what I
into
just
our country.
advocated for? Didn't I just advocate for a quick legal immigration process?
Yeah, and I agree with you on that.
Wait, wait! Elon Musk worked illegally in this country, and he gets a pass? I didn't even know this point. That's crazy, bro.
How did he come here illegally?
He worked illegally in the United States? No way. Yo, dude. He wants more Elon Musk, so he wants more undocumented immigrants into the country. Let's go. We got him, folks. We got him. Look at that. Look at that. It looks like he supports an undocumented immigrant coming into our country. How dare he? Dude, are you kidding me? You are stunned. You don't even know what to say.
I mean, I'm like, you're just not really making sense, honestly.
I'm not making sense. Elon Musk, the guy you support coming into our country and getting $1 trillion. So much money you've never seen before. Yeah, that guy worked illegally in our country.
How? Where did he work illegally? How was it illegal?
Yeah, I have an article here from Forbes, and we're going to have Matt explain it right now.
Hello.
Go ahead.
So he violated his visa by when he came in. He lacked permission to work when he founded one of his companies with his brother, and his brother basically when he left the country, he admitted that he came in as an undocumented person because he faked his records. So I think Elon got special treatment precisely because of the fact that he was very successful. But now we know that the way he came in was like, we would say that like he violated the law, which is a reason, by the way, that we can take away his like nationalization. So like technically he lied on a lot of things, which is why we can like take away something like that. So you should be anti-Elon because he violated our laws.
Wait, we could unironically denaturalize.
Yeah,
him.
because the only way that you can denaturalize somebody is they lied when they lied on like the paperwork and stuff.
Yeah, wait. Trump supporters must support deporting Elon Musk then. Wait, do you support deporting Elon?
No.
Okay, wait. So
Why?
then you don't want to deport undocumented immigrants or people that came into our country undocumented?
I don't know. I don't know all the facts. Like,
No. Let me ask you though. Let's say that what I'm saying is true. Let's assume that, okay? If that's assumed and he actually did violate the law, he lied and he violated his visa, why should we not like send him back to just like South Africa? Like why not?
So I think even if that's the case and it's proven correct in a court of law, honestly, I think he should get a presidential pardon from Donald Trump because
Why?
He's provided so much positive value to America that he would deserve it. Right?
Wait, so hold
and I
on.
think if another illegal person can provide the same, then they can get that too.
Wait,
Wait,
hold on.
wait,
So
wait.
why is it that the undocumented migrant who has been here for 10 years, who has labored to like provide us the like food, the
Right.
like work in the factory, all those things, why is that less than what Elon has done? Because under your like idea, he came in as a undocumented immigrant. He lied about things. He violated all laws. Why can't you apply that same logic to Elon Musk?
Dude.
I just don't see the difference.
Oh my god, new argument unlocked, bro. How the did I not know this, bro? New argument unlocked. Holy shit.